Well, next we have Cliff Ganschow here in person. Thanks for making it out, Cliff. He's the chairman of Agristar Global Networks. Agristar is a communications company that provides satellite broadband connectivity and information services dedicated to agricultural and issues in rural America. Cliff has a long history of service to rural America. He was the founder of Top Farmers of America and was its president and chairman for 15 years. He also has served as chairman of Market Communications, a publishing and market consulting firm. And more recently, he founded AgriData Resources, an early agricultural computer network, and has been very involved in a number of publications associated with America's wildlife and life in rural areas. Cliff?
I brought my granddaddy's watch so I can precisely time the 5 minutes. Well, first of all, I want to thank the FCC for inviting me to participate today, but particularly for your overall vision in sponsoring this forum and recognizing the potential and some of the problems ahead of getting rural broadband established. Satellite connectivity certainly is going to play a big role in that. The primary focus of Agristar is to provide satellite broadband connectivity exclusively to the country's top farms and ranches. We define top farms not necessarily by dollar figures or size, but just in pure efficiency. And so our top farm primary target market will include farms of a few hundred acres on up to several thousand. We also, though, have utilized that top group to serve as an adoptive use diffusion point to go on down into other sectors of the rural market. The rest of the 2 million farms in the country, the agribusinesses that they buy from and sell to, and a number of other rural entities that would include just rural residences that perhaps have nothing to do with agriculture as a business. Agristar, as a result of that focus on the rural market, is the only nationwide provider that is delivering both connectivity and an information content package combined with various types of business services for the farm market and related ag sectors. As I look back over what we've been doing in the ag information world over the last 40 years, I don't think there was ever a time that faster speed wasn't one of our objectives. In the 1960s, when we set up the Top Farmers of America Association, that was the first association dedicated to the very top level of efficiency. And then we got by with sending a monthly magazine and having a lot of live seminars around the country. In the 1970s, a decade later, we put out the first risk management publication that the industry has had, Farm Futures. And because it dealt with time-sensitive information, a monthly magazine was not totally adequate to do that job, so we supplemented it with weekly newsletters and then ultimately incoming watch lines where we recorded different market tapes a day. And in the following decade, in the 80s, we set up the first national computer network of top farms and ranches. It was called Agristar. That was prior to the internet, obviously. And at that stage, even though these were technology-friendly farms and ranches, we had to, in most cases, explain what a modem was, and in a lot of cases, give them one to experiment with because they didn't really think it was going to work. And then in the 1990s, when the internet came on the scene in widespread use, I felt at that time that the internet had obviously enormous potential in a lot of, maybe all industries, but I don't think any more so than agriculture. A number of reasons for that. Obviously, it's a huge industry from the production input on one side to the end user on the other, with the farmers as the epicenter in the middle. The most vital industry, people have to eat. Three, it's a very complex food chain, very fragmented, and when you consider all the input suppliers, their dealers, distributors, field men, and on the end user, the elevators and and processors, and then again this big group of farms in the middle. It's very complex. And the fourth factor that I felt made the internet hugely potentially important for agriculture was it was rural based. And that, of course, also was the Achilles heel because it put a huge lid on potentially using the internet in the way that it could be used. I'm still astounded at the amount of money that was spent in the agribusiness field developing internet platforms, developing software programs, back office procedures to use the internet with very little, if any, thought on how it was going to be, how rapidly it could be delivered in the rural sectors. We did some early testing and found that you were talking connection speeds on rural phone lines of 10, 15, 20K. And I don't necessarily say we had special vision there. Maybe it was just good old horse sense. And you all know what that is. That's what keeps horses from betting on people. But one way or the other, we decided to wait a little bit and see what was going to happen. And when the first affordable satellite units came out in a couple of years later, we began to test it extensively in 2000, 2001. We set up a network of several hundred farms in about 40 states a year and a half ago and tested that very extensively and got excellent results. It was a little hard on the ego from being in the content development business because we had never, to the best of my knowledge, had any farmer come up to us and say, boy, that rural mail carrier is a real whiz driving down the road and throwing stuff in our mailbox. But this is what we're hearing in the first year of broadband connectivity. It's just the absolute speed that they can access the internet by, and it almost puts content in a secondary position, fortunately just for a few months, and then they come back to, well, okay, now we can connect rapidly. What are we going to get over it? I think as I'm trying to cut back some of my notes here because of the limited time, but the way we approach implementing AgriStar, and our technology provider is Hughes Network Systems. We are developing the content, so it's carrier agnostic, but we selected Hughes because they are the largest satellite services company, and we liked the infrastructure that was in the field for installation and those type of problems that we didn't want to get directly involved in. If we start with this top farm group, about 250,000, about 10 to 15% of all the farms in the United States today farm 70% of the land, produce about 80% of the commodities, and earn 90% of the net income. And that group, with the ag businesses that supply them and buy from them, is a very, very information-intensive industry, and it's going to only get more so from here on. Biogenetics, global positioning systems, this is, there's been an explosive use of those kind of techniques, and they have to have broadband delivery, or it just isn't going to be feasible for the top farms to compete in the global market. One of the agribusiness that I referred earlier to that I thought didn't do a very good job of analyzing connectivity problems said that came to us about a year before we were ready to launch, and they were using GPS maps to provide data back to the farms. They collected the data by GPS system and then literally had to print the maps out and send them by FedEx to the farmer because it took 7, 8, 9 hours to download. That just isn't workable in today's global agriculture. We're now providing, as the initial start on content, we do a daily global agricultural news roundup that is updated during the day. We provide extensive farm market and weather information. The market information starts way before the market's open anywhere in the world and are updated just continuously. In addition to the on-screen information, there's several audio updates during the day. We also provide long-range weather forecasting. Orion Samuelson, who generally is recognized as as the most recognized farm broadcaster in the country. It does daily updates for us on various ag subjects. So we've got a good start on the basic information. That information comes with the connectivity, which again I think differentiates us in compared to, say, a consumer company that just delivers the connectivity. We're going to be very shortly adding a wide spectrum of premium services. It'll range from virtual seminars to distance learning. We're exploring the possibility of helping farmers aggregate with people like them to deliver value-added products. The potential to do value add in agriculture is much more than a buzzword. I've got my time run down here. I just want to take last minute to say several things. They asked me to talk about just quickly some examples of success. We had an Iowa school in terms of the diffusion process. An Iowa farmer was on our school board out there, and I guess his wife was on the board, and he recommended they try a satellite unit. They're enormously happy with it. We have a dozen, 15 of those that I won't be able to have time to go over now, but if any of you'd like to talk later or write me, I'll be glad to fill you in on these.